Around the SEC, brought to you by Precision Chemical and Equipment. Come check out our selection of Exmark, Yazoo Keys, and Dixon zero-turn radius mowers, located 1/2 mile south of Siegen on Airline Highway. The South Carolina Gamecocks.
When South Carolina takes the field against Georgia Saturday, they'll have a boost in their secondary that was really tortured by East Carolina. Junior Devontae Holloman returns to the lineup after a one-game suspension for his June arrest on DUI charges. Also, cornerback Akeem August did not practice Monday, but is expected to practice later this week. He did not travel with the team for the opener because of a foot injury, so that should boost the secondary. And we also found out when the Week 2 depth chart was released that Steven Garcia is back as the number one quarterback in Columbia. Surprise, surprise.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Dallas Lee is going to get the first start of his career at left guard this Saturday. Mark Richt indicating that might have been the case even if Canarius Gates had not been injured. Gates was held out of practice yesterday, but is expected to be available on Saturday. Here's why. I mean, Georgia gave up 6 sacks to Boise State and averaged under 2 yards per carry on rushing attempts by tailbacks. Not good. Mark Richt also said he briefly considered moving Richard Samuel back to linebacker in the wake of the injury to Alec Ogletree, who's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a broken foot. Linebackers coach Kirk Olivadotti said the Bulldogs are also exploring other options. Also, they have to look at the defensive line where nose guard Kwame Gethers did not practice for the second straight day because of a neck injury. Things are not great right now in Athens.
The Auburn Tigers.
After failing to rush for 100 yards in last Saturday's win over Utah State, Gus Malzahn said, quote, "We're still a work in progress, you think?" Malzahn did give his new starting quarterback Barrett Trotter praise for rallying the Tigers in the final minutes. Running back Ontario McCaleb said of Trotter's play, quote, "I think he went out there and showed everybody he can be the man." We also found out Trey Mason is the man, named SEC Co-Freshman of the Week for his performance against Utah State.
The Florida Gators.
After Saturday's comfortable win against Florida Atlantic, running back Chris Rainey was one of a few players who said the Gators employed a vanilla game plan. In fact, Rainey said Florida only used 6 offensive plays. Will Muschamp's response, quote, "His access may be limited." Charlie Weiss said for Rainey to try to give you analysis on what we're doing, quote, "That's comical in its own right." Believe what you want to believe, but those are pretty strong words of denial from the two coaches. We also know that Florida's playing UAB this weekend. They'll face another opponent playing their first game of the season to make scouting that game even more difficult for Weiss. The Blazers' defensive coordinator is Tommy West, who took last year off after being fired as the Memphis head coach back in 2009. So for the second week in a row, Weiss says, quote, "We have no evidence for sure what they're going to do on offense." Could be one to watch.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama continued its preparation for Saturday's game at number 23 Penn State. They did get good news. Wide receiver Kevin Norwood returned to practice and went through passing drills after spraining his ankle against Kent State in the opener. Alabama is back on the practice field today before heading up to Happy Valley later in the week. There you have it. That is Around the SEC.